Hello, and welcome to my end of the year book tag. We're going to answer some questions and talk about the books I want to read by the end of the year. First question is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? There's one. There's only one, actually. I'm pretty good about DNFing books. If I'm just not getting into them and I really just don't foresee myself liking the rest of the book, I DNF. I've never really had an issue with that, so I don't typically have a lot of books that just sit on my shelf like needing to be continued, but there is one, and that is actually Wild Love by Elsie Silver. For some reason, the story just hasn't really captured me. I can probably recall what it's about, but no, I wasn't loving it. However, I haven't given up on it, so I do want to finish that one by the end of the year. Next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Yes, and I need to read it in the next few days because it's from my library and my Libby app keeps telling me I have 4 days left to read it. But that is The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore by Laurie Gilmore. I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe probably a month or two ago and really enjoyed it. I actually really love that the characters skew a bit older. I'm in my 40s, and so I enjoy having characters that maybe are a little more towards my age range every once in a while, and so that was really enjoyable. And it's just, I don't know, kind of a wholesome, good story. So I'm really looking forward to reading The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? Yes, and it's Hexed by Emily McIntyre. It comes out in November. It is maybe the last one, I think that's what she said, in her series of Fractured Fairy Tales. All the other ones have been really great, and so I know that this won't disappoint. It's going to be great. I think it's a Little Mermaid fairy tale-esque. It has those themes. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So this is actually really easy, and I have 4 books. I actually have a longer list, but these are the top 4 that I really, really want to read by the end of the year, and I'm going to make it a priority to do so. The first is The City of Mirth and Malice by Alexis L. Maynard. This is actually the follow-up to House of Bane and Blood, and it is so good. The House of Bane and Blood was so good. It was like if you took Peaky Blinders and kind of steampunked it and then gave the guy a metal arm. it's I don't know, and then added some magic into it. It's so good. Next is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This book was not on my radar until recently, and I just kept hearing about it over and over again, and yeah, I downloaded it immediately to my Kindle, and it's just been sitting there, and it keeps looking at me because the cover is so beautiful, and so I would really, really like to start this. I've heard great things about the entire series. Next is this one, actually. The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I don't know, I'm gonna put it here where I would usually put one of my best friends just read this. She absolutely loved it. I'm a huge Leigh Bardugo fan. I read Hellbent this year, Ninth House the year before that. And so I would really, really like to read this by the end of the year, especially right now. It's kind of spooky season. This seems like the perfect time to read it. So definitely going to start this one. And then finally, I wanted to add this book because it is a holiday book, and her other holiday book that I read last year is one of my favorite books. But this one is called Euro Dream by Kate Stewart. So her other book, The Plight Before Christmas, I read that last year and I loved it. It was so good. And I really have high hopes about Euro Dream. I think it has a lot to do with someone that is kind of like myself and lives abroad. And yeah, I think I might actually really resonate with it. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of this year? I think that Belladonna could probably really surprise me. I think it's YA, isn't it? Again, it had not really been on my radar, but everything that I've heard about it is just so good. So that one I think could really probably surprise me. However, if you want to know what my top read of the year so far is, it is My Dark Desire by L.J. Shen and Parker S. Huntington. This book shocked me because the first one in the series was okay, but the My Dark Desire just had all of the things I love. It was like enemies to lovers. He's like a tortured soul kind of a guy, you know, he's gone through some trauma, and so he doesn't really treat her very well, but he's falling in love with her kind of thing. I don't know. They help each other. She's a fencer, and I was like, I was reading it during the Olympics, and so I was like watching fencing and reading about fencing, and so that was really cool. Just had elements in it that I really enjoy, but also things that we're just so surprised by. I don't know. The whole story arc was just amazing. So really, really enjoyed that book, and you should definitely check it out if you like a good bad boy needs loving kind of book. Have you already started making reading plans for 2024? Sort of. Mostly, I'm excited to continue series I'm in the middle of. So, for instance, I have started the ACOTAR series for the first time. If you watched any of my other videos, I've listened to the first two, and so I'm on the third one now. I'd really like to finish that up. I'm also really excited for A Rebel Without Claws, which is by Julia Cross. It's the kind of the side series or an extended series, spin-off series of Stay a Spell, which was about werewolves and vampires and witches. And this one I think is primarily about one of the werewolf clans that is part of that first series. And then the last one I'm really excited about is the third in the Ruinous Love trilogy, which is Scythe and Sparrow. It's, everyone knows, by Bryn Weaver. What's the first one? Butcher and Blackbird. There we go. Leather and Lark was one of my favorite books this year, along with Lights Out, by the way. If you want another book that was really good, Lights Out. But Leather and Lark was way better, I think, than Butcher and Blackbird, and so I'm hopeful that she continues on with just getting better and better. But those are the questions for end of year book tag. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.